ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਆਗੂ ਪੋਲੀਵਿਡ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਤੇ ਪਲਟਵਾਰ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਆਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਹਰ ਗੱਲ ਲਈ ਕਟੌਤੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨਸ ਦੇ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਲਈ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਲੈਣ। ਆਟਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਬੋਧਨ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਪੋਲੀਵਿਡ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਕਿ 8 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਦੁੱਗਣੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਰਹਿਣ ਸਹਿਣ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਦੁੱਗਣੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਹਨ, ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੜਕਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ, ਵਿਵਸਥਾ ਤੇ ਨਸ਼ੇ ਫੈਲ ਗਏ ਹਨ। ਹੁਣ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਹਨ, ਪਰ ਦਿੱਕਤ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਤੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ।
At 8 years, housing costs have doubled. The cost of living is rising. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets, and those streets are increasingly filled with homeless people stuck living in tents because of the doubling of housing costs. Now, Justin Trudeau thinks the worst problem in Canada today is that people are angry at him. I think the worst problem is that people can't pay their rent. After 8 years of his inflationary policies, of his shoveling billions of dollars into the bureaucracies that block home building, housing costs are among the worst in the world, nearly double what they are in the United States. Rent has doubled, mortgage payments doubled, needed down payments doubled, all after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. Yesterday he held a press conference to announce in front of a house to tell you all that he's not responsible for housing. That's funny, because 8 years ago he promised he was going to lower housing costs. It's also funny that the biggest housing agency in Canada, CMHC, is federal. Mortgage insurance, federal. Taxes, fiscal and monetary policy, federal, federal, federal. Immigration, federal. Infrastructure money, federal. All these things are federal, and yet the federal prime minister claims he has nothing to do with it whatsoever. No wonder he wants to wash his hands of his horrendous and unprecedented record. After 8 years, people are losing their homes. I used to say there were 35-year-olds living in their parents' basements, and people were shocked to hear that. Now, it's much worse. The 35-year-old worries that him and his mother might be on the street living in their cars. I met a 42-year-old carpenter in Sault Ste. Marie who lives in his car. I talked to a housing advocate in Penticton who says it's common now for her to meet seniors in that city that live in parking lots. CTV even ran a story of a nurse who lives in her van. Does anybody remember Canada like this? The scenes in our cities where there's tents, where people live on the streets and in parks, have not been this common since the Great Depression. Our refugees cloister in inner cities and under bridges. This is life after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. He's concerned that people are angry at him. I'm concerned for the little girl in Timmins who stepped on a dirty needle, or the mother in Toronto who was hit by a stray bullet. I'm concerned about the sports store owner in Timmins who had his shop robbed for the 4th time in 2 years. I'm not concerned whether or not Justin Trudeau's feelings are hurt because people are angry at him. I'm concerned about the misery that he has unleashed on our streets and in the pocketbooks of Canadians.